What if the Titanic had not sunk? The Titanic was one of the largest man-made objects that had ever been constructed, and at the time of its launch in 1911, it was considered to be unsinkable. The sinking of this ship, which killed over 1,500 people, caused an international scandal and led to huge changes in maritime safety regulations. But what if the Titanic had not sunk? Would we live in a completely different world today? Join us as we take a look back at some alternate history and find out exactly what would have happened had the Titanic not sunk. An April evening in 1911, the Titanic left Southampton, England, on its maiden voyage bound for New York City. The passengers were a mix of wealthy industrialists and poor immigrants looking for a better life in America. The ship was packed with over 2,200 people. It had luxurious cabins, a swimming pool, a gym, restaurants, and even an a la carte menu. In terms of luxury travel, there was nothing better than the Titanic. And while the ship ran into an iceberg and sank in just under 3 hours, killing more than 1,500 people, things could have been very different. What if the Titanic had made it to New York without incident? Let's take a closer look at how this would have affected our world. In an alternate timeline, the Titanic reaches New York Harbor in the early hours of April 15, 1911. The passengers disembark and many make their way to nearby hotels, while others head out into the city that never sleeps. The captain and crew of the Titanic prepare for their first scheduled stop in the United States, which will allow them to pick up fresh supplies and more passengers. As the day drags on, newspapers around the city carry stories about the amazing journey across the Atlantic and the wonderful ship that made it possible. There are even photos of the ship itself and the people who made the journey. The next morning, the captain wakes up early and heads to the shore to inspect the ship and prepare it for departure. He takes a moment to enjoy the feeling of accomplishment he gets from knowing that he's in charge of such an important vessel. He looks out over the water and smiles. This is going to be a great trip. In our own timeline, the Titanic didn't make it to New York. Instead, it hit an iceberg and sank in the North Atlantic. But in this alternate timeline, the Titanic makes it to New York safely. As the sun rises, the captain walks back to his cabin and begins preparing for the long journey ahead. He knows that there's a lot of work to be done, but he's up for the task. He's got a great crew and a beautiful ship, and he's confident that everything will go according to plan. The captain leaves his cabin and heads up to the bridge. He greets the crew, and they get to work. The Titanic begins its journey back to Europe, carrying with it a cargo of dreams and hopes. The passengers are excited to see the sights and sounds of Europe, and the crew is eager to show them around. As the ship pulls away from the dock, the captain turns to the first mate and smiles. This is going to be a great trip. Over the next few days, the Titanic travels across the ocean, making stops in various European cities. The passengers get to experience the culture and history of each place, and the crew does their best to make sure everyone has a good time. The ship is well maintained, and the crew is friendly and helpful. Everything seems to be going according to plan. But as the Titanic approaches its final destination, something unexpected happens. A storm rolls in, and the ship begins to take on water. The crew works quickly to pump out the water, but it's no use. The Titanic is in danger of sinking. The passengers are frightened, and the crew is desperate. They try everything they can think of to save the ship, but it's too late. The Titanic goes down in flames. Everyone on board dies except for one young boy who is rescued by a passing ship. News of the tragedy spreads quickly, and people around the world are shocked. How could such a large and luxurious ship sink? An investigation is launched to try to figure out what happened, but no one can say for sure. Some blame the captain, others blame the crew. Still, others blame the ship itself. In the end, no one knows what really caused the Titanic to sink. This tragedy has far-reaching consequences. People around the world are afraid to travel on ships now, and trade routes are disrupted. The economy suffers and people lose their jobs. The sinking of the Titanic changes the world forever. Now let's jump back to the alternate timeline, where the Titanic never sank. In this timeline, the Titanic becomes the most famous ship in the world. People from all over Europe come to ride on the ship and experience the luxury and comfort it has to offer. The crew of the Titanic is proud to work on the most famous ship in the world, and they do their best to make sure everyone has a good time. The ship is well maintained, and the crew is friendly and helpful. As the years pass, other shipping companies try to copy the success of the Titanic by building larger and more luxurious ships, but none of them can match the original. The Titanic remains the most famous ship in the world until it's finally retired in the late 1930s. By this point, the ship is old and outdated, but it's still loved by millions. When it's finally retired, it's met with a huge celebration. People from all over the world come to say goodbye to the ship that has meant so much to them. Now let's talk about how the sinking of the Titanic changed the course of history. The sinking of the Titanic was a terrible tragedy that resulted in the loss of many lives. But it also had a profound impact on the course of history. Here are just a few ways that the sinking of the Titanic changed the world. The sinking of the Titanic led to major changes in maritime safety regulations. Before the Titanic sank, there were no international regulations governing things like lifeboats or life rafts. In the aftermath of the tragedy, these regulations were put into place to ensure that such a disaster would never happen again. These changes saved countless lives and helped to make travel by sea much safer. The sinking of the Titanic had a major impact on the development of technology. After the tragedy, there was a race to develop new technologies that would help to prevent similar disasters. This led to the development of new navigation systems, improved lighting on ships, and the creation of the International Ice Patrol, which is still in operation today. The sinking of the Titanic had a profound impact on psychology. The tragedy led to the creation of the field of maritime psychology, which studies how humans react to disasters at sea. This field has helped to improve safety measures and prevent future tragedies. The sinking of the Titanic led to major changes in the shipping industry. After the tragedy, there was a shift away from large, luxurious liners like the Titanic and towards smaller, more practical ships. This change in focus led to the development of new types of vessels that are more efficient and better suited to the needs of modern shipping. The sinking of the Titanic continues to fascinate people around the world today. The story of the ship and its passengers has been told and retold countless times in books, movies, and TV shows. The tragedy is a reminder of the power of the sea and the importance of safety at sea. The sinking of the Titanic was a pivotal moment in history that had far-reaching consequences. The tragedy led to major changes in maritime safety regulations, the development of new technologies, and a shift in the shipping industry. It also had a profound impact on psychology and the way we understand human behavior in the face of disaster. In conclusion, the sinking of the Titanic was a terrible tragedy that resulted in the loss of many lives. However, it also had a major impact on the course of history. The tragedy led to major changes in maritime safety regulations, the development of new technologies, and a shift in the shipping industry. It also had a profound impact on psychology and the way we understand human behavior in the face of disaster. If the Titanic had not sunk, the world would be a very different place today. The ship was a marvel of engineering and a symbol of the luxury and opulence of the early 20th century. If the Titanic had continued to sail the seas, it is likely that the world would be a more industrialized place today. The ship was powered by coal, which would have contributed to the Industrial Revolution. In addition, the Titanic was a symbol of the wealth and power of the industrialists who owned it. If the ship had not sunk, it is likely that the Gilded Age would have lasted longer, and that the gap between the rich and poor would be even greater today. However, the sinking of the Titanic also had a positive impact on the world. The tragedy led to major changes in maritime safety regulations, which resulted in the loss of many lives. The sinking of the Titanic also led to major changes in the shipping industry. After the Titanic sank, ships were built with more safety features and new technologies were developed to prevent similar disasters. What are your thoughts on the sinking of the Titanic? You think the world would be a better place today if the ship had not sunk? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We hope you enjoyed learning about the sinking of the Titanic and the ways in which it has affected our world. Thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more informative and entertaining videos in the future.